front of me, the guitar in my arms is the soul of me. You walk by, ask to see me laying face down.
Well, hello everybody. What a day. No, it's actually Sunday, so it's not really an important day, it's just a day. But hello everyone and welcome back to the Weekly Steelchair on a Sunday.
Your intros, my friend, they get very bizarre.
Yeah, I learn from the best. I learn from Goldust. So
but
that's
you just go with the vibe.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Anyway,
But
we are pay-per-view. We are pay-per-view this weekend. We are the main event. We are the grand stand of it all. We didn't record yesterday. We were going to, but of course, Manchester United stuff took over, and we thought, yeah, we could go on after, but that makes the channel a bit busy, clogs it up a bit. So we thought we'll go here instead. For the next hour, we will be providing you with coverage on all things wrestling from the week, provided they're from the two companies that are worth a damn. So we're going to start, well, first of all, with the pleasantries. How you doing, Reece?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, doing okay. It's obviously a cozy Sunday night edition, so everyone get your hot drinks and your packs of biscuits out of the kitchen and relax, because for the next hour we will be providing you with some very smooth and very coherent commentary, I'm sure.
We do have some interesting updates coming for everybody on the show tonight, but obviously we'll get the immediate ones out of the way now. So next week, obviously, we will be discussing it in little bits of detail tonight, but we won't go all in. Tonight, myself and Eilidh will discuss briefly about Night of Champions. We'll discuss briefly about Double or Nothing, because obviously it's a dual header next week, but it's not actually a dual header, it's a triple threat, because obviously NXT Battleground is also next Saturday, so I know which one I'll be watching on the Sunday. Battleground. I'll be watching that on the Sunday because it's more poignant to watch a development enhancement stuff the following day.
I mean, NXT's worrying me at the moment because obviously they just lost some big names. So it's going to be interesting to see if that.
We're going to talk about that tonight, actually. I'm going to add that into the show. I'm adding that into the show. We're going to talk about that tonight, actually, because I like NXT, but I'm starting to think that maybe they're no longer taking NXT serious.
Yeah, let's lead off with it. You know, it's come up. Let's start there.
We will.
The names that have come up for NXT. So obviously, first we'll finish the triple header point. What Reece is getting at is, so next Saturday we're hoping afternoon, because if it's evening we kind of miss the boat. We're going to catch we're going to basically stream about an hour in the afternoon. Which will be the full-on preview
for both shows.
Actually, I've forgotten the name. Yeah, I have forgotten the name of it. Night of Champions. With maybe some brief preview of AEW, just depending, because there isn't a whole lot to say about Night of Champions, really, like the overall card. There's a couple of huge matches to talk about, but to be honest, they might come up in conversation tonight, and you never know where our conversations will lead us. So maybe a little bit on AEW. Again, not a play-by-play, because, well, we've seen firsthand that very few people care. And to be honest, my own interest with AEW has been waning. So I suppose we'll see what happens there. NXT also, we can mention it, I guess. But again, people aren't following it along. And I think it's telling that when you take, I'm going to say 6, but it's probably only 5 of the best names on NXT, it's no surprise that it gets worse.
The fact that they managed to ensure that NXT maintains like Dovak, they maintained Carmelo Hayes, they maintained Braun Breaker.
See, when all the champs were going, I thought for sure Wesley was coming.
So did I. They maintained Wesley, which is good. They maintained They've maintained Cora Jade. They've maintained Gigi Dole and Jacy Jane. Some good names to build around. But they lose the best tag team. Well, apart from Gallus, they're still in NXT, but they lost the best tag team in Pretty Deadly. In terms of just pure gimmick, like Pretty Deadly has got the best gimmick on the entire show, which is
And now if there were only two obnoxious English heels that they could use in NXT.
funny that, isn't it? It's because
If only there were two. If only they weren't wasting them in some kind of useless gimmick.
Yeah, one of them.
Can't remember what that would be though.
True. Tyler Bate and Butch. There you go.
That would work as well, to be fair, though.
Yeah.
It seems like Butch is in it for the long haul.
Not for
Anyway, but
long.
yeah, NXT, I don't know. The draft was always going to butcher them, but to take that much, I mean, Grayson Waller, I thought for sure they were going to make him the NXT champion. And then move Carmelo Hayes straight on up.
Yeah, I think Grayson Waller is ready for the main event roster though. Like I think when you look at it, all three were generally good enough to go to the main roster. Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, but Grayson Waller has everything. Like I'm not going to go at the primordial Vince look because that stuff is extinct. But if Vince had still been fully in charge and nobody rivaled him, Grayson Waller would have been on main roster, I would say, a year and a half ago, because he's got size, he's got presence, he's great on the mic, he's great in the ring, and he's got a very good look. But I like the fact that it's not Vince McMahon, which gives Grayson Waller more time to adapt to it. And we've already found out who his first major feud's going to be on main roster. And I'm like, there is no one better for him on the main roster to learn what main roster is all about than, in my opinion, a top five the last decade of AJ Styles, and that includes the 2010s, not just the current decade. But like when you look at it, it's the right guy for him.
Yeah,
and I'm happy for Grayson Waller, especially the way that he built to it himself. Like I just loved the tease, and I like the way he done that on SmackDown. Obviously, we'll come to main roster very shortly. Another one, obviously, that's quite telling is we mentioned obviously Gallus being the best tag team on SmackDown because they're Scottish and it's pure bias. But then you've got Pretty Deadly who are now on the main roster. That's great because their gimmick is outlandish. But then you've got the NXT Women Tag Team Champions in Alba Fire and Eilidh Dawn. So
now they had a great little squash match outing, but
against two.
Why are they still holding the NXT tag belts?
I'm not actually sure, and that's
I'm
where my
hoping
problem
this is the beginning of how they just melt one of them away. I'm fine with you having women's tag belts the way that you had them before, that they could go to any brand. It didn't make sense when NXT got their own.
Could work.
But if there was just one set and it was going between the whole roster and you had teams that actually made sense, like Alba Fire and Eilidh Dawn,
pure genuine.
It's not definitely dead, but you do need to sort of kill teams like Raquel Gonzalez and Liv Morgan.
They are gone. They are permanently gone now.
Yeah, and jamming any... But, I mean, like, the idea of that team. Just going,
yes.
Well, you two are faces. Boop.
Like, you look at the tag team title match that's coming up, for example, the Fatal 4-Way. There's only one team in that I generally see winning. And I wouldn't be surprised. I know a lot of people have said to me that it's going to be Dakota Kai, but I think it's going to be Shotzi. And I've not got an issue with that. She should be in the tag team division. But I'm saying this now: Raquel Rodriguez needs to get out of the tag title division. She needs to go back to being a monster heel as a single.
Yep.
But when you look at the women's tag team division, there's only one team there that actually should be the champions. But I want one of them to be a mid-card women's champion, and that's Baszler and Rousey. I want Baszler to be the women's equivalent of an IC champion because she's the best mid-card to upper mid-card talent elevator that you can get that can work great TV matches and is good on the mic. I don't think there's anybody on the main roster, in my opinion, and that's not disrespecting the women's division, but when you look at the division as a whole, name me someone who is better at working a pay-per-view and a TV match better than Shayna Baszler. Combined, because in terms of where she is on the card,
right? Okay, because I was like, well, I mean, all the main eventers.
Well, not really, no, because I don't think Bianca Belair is better than her.
Oh, come on now.
Bianca's great. I'm not taking that away, but I think Shayna's actually better than her.
No, that's not quite as bad as Moxley and Gunther are the same, but that's a pretty shocking take. I mean, Bianca Belair is one of the greatest. Bianca Belair is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world right now. I'm taking.
We're not going to go that far.
I'm taking female out of it. I'm genuinely taking female out of it. For the last 3 years, Bianca Belair has been one of the best wrestlers in the world.
You do know that she's also being pushed like Super Cena was, and it's actually going to end up being super unbearable that she needs to turn heel, which I've said for nearly a year.
But the matches have been good, which is not necessarily something you can always say with Cena. And the matches that were bad were hampered by stipulation and would have been better if they were just singles matches. The hardcore matches against Bayley didn't need to happen. The ladder match didn't really need to happen.
Agreed.
But the actual singles matches and her ring work, I don't know how you could not say that she's currently one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I don't think she's not great. I think she is. I'm just saying, if you gave me a choice who I think is just better, I personally believe it's Shayna Baszler. But
guys,
but then again,
let's get that in the comments. Let's not have civil war over this race. But
here,
get in the comments.
It's not civil war. It's just
am
my
I
opinion.
being too strong in my defense of Bianca Belair? No. Am I going too far? Is Reece going too far with that sort of defense?
Now you're making it personal.
Or does he have a point? That we'll start with that. Does Reece have a point? And while we check if Reece has a point, we'll be talking about the point of long-term storytelling. And well, what's going on here now? Like,
I think there's only one question about it, but I'm going to let you take the echelon on it.
The reactions are cooling off again on SmackDown.
Stems to this, and there is another topic we'll be coming to it very shortly, and I think it's the reason why the main rosters is actually fading. There's one particular storyline that needs to end because I'm actually getting sick and bored of it. But it's past its due. But
Raw sort of turning this around has really annoyed me for one key reason. Raw's now the most watched, like the must-see show.
Again.
And it's definitely because of Brock Lesnar, isn't it?
Partly.
But he's definitely got something to do with it. And that breaks my heart, you know?
You know what it is? And this is what people need to realise about a storyline that we're going to discuss very soon. Brock Lesnar is a bigger draw than the entire family combined. I'm sorry, but he is. Like,
the case.
Like, Roman Reigns has got a character that's on a different parallel right now, and I don't like the guy, but I will give him respect. He has that. The Usos are boring. Like, I'm sorry, but Jimmy Uso is the most dumbest wrestler I've ever seen.
We'll come on to that. You can promo the Bloodline later.
We're coming to them, like, and we will. And the only thing that's credible is the enforcer, who we just call him Rookie. I'm just going to call him Rookie for a little while because that's what Solo is. He's just a rookie. But
he's
but
just.
When you look at it, Brock Lesnar. I know you don't want to hear this because you don't like Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar combined is bigger and better and more entertaining, and he's a bigger draw than all four of them combined. The only thing that's keeping the Bloodline story going is a man who's got a big bald forehead with a tail bit at the back of him, and his name's Paul Heyman.
I don't know. We'll come on to it. I think Sami Zayn's got a bit to do with it as well. Considering he's still like going about. But no, I think the reason for the main roster reversal is...
Best way to coin it is a reversal. Cause
it's simply the division of labour. It's the stars. It's the people that went where they went and how that's worked out for them.
What do you think about the initial draft then? What do you think post-draft? The draft is over.
When I looked at the draft at first, I thought Raw had been done dirty.
And And now you're thinking Raw
Now
actually
I'm
survived.
thinking they're actually okay. I think Raw's using obviously the free agent a bit better. I say free agent because, well, there's only one worth caring about, and it is Brock, because he's the only one who's going to be involved in anything with like long-term substance. Okay,
Because
you
Omos
might
is
get
boring.
a match out of Omos every now and again, but I don't think Triple H has him in these sort of 4-month feuds that build week on week, and he can do so much in the ring and
I've got a
everything. It's
great
not like
idea
that.
for. I've got a
Baron
great idea
Corbin
for
was
Omos.
used to, Baron Corbin was used as cannon fodder for Cameron Grimes. It's just,
Yep.
all these free agents don't mean anything, and then Raw are using Brock Lesnar to put him as the monster heel up against Cody, who's at his most over that he's ever been.
And it's working.
And it's working. And then everything else that happens on Raw is working. People are liking what they're doing, despite the sort of absence of a champion at the moment, because people want to see what the developments are for that new champion. I also think people are enjoying the idea of Gunther and Imperium being about as well. I mean, I don't think their segments will be necessarily drawing yet, but I think people are intrigued, just sort of the way that people moved over to Raw. I particularly think Imperium were the big one.
Look
where
at
people, okay, what's Gunther going to do on Raw? What are Imperium going to do on Raw? And okay, Imperium have been beaten by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn so far,
which is fine.
But that's fine because they were the champions. Like it's okay to do that. Once again, Imperium play. We go on about how the Usos were frustrating for this because on the one hand they were the tag team and the tag champions, and on the other they were the guys that would take the fall for Roman Reigns.
Yes,
it's the same sort of thing here. Only Imperium aren't the champions, so it's fine right now. The problem will be if that's still Imperium's role and they're the tag champions. That's when we'll have a problem because then we'll be saying, okay, well, the tag division is awful because even the champions get dished by Edge or just Drew McIntyre, anything like that. It doesn't make sense. So it's nice to see them. Well, what do you think? What else do you think over on Raw has got them? I doubt it's Mustafa Ali in his push, but it might be.
I think what's changed on Raw that's actually interesting is Raw is actually giving more to the segments. They're actually giving more to the matches as well. The quality is changing. I think SmackDown's matches, I know SmackDown is a shorter show by an hour. You generally get better match quality and better match times on SmackDown. But this week on Raw, match times have actually been better than SmackDown was. You actually get more interest in a 6-7 minute match than on Raw than you did in a 6-7 minute on SmackDown. It feels like there's more involvement. I think they're still trying to figure out what SmackDown's going to go to that level going forward. And I'm thinking this is why I'm still advocating that both shows should still be 2 hours each. I don't like
I mean we know that they'll never do that.
They won't. But I still think they should. I don't care what people think about like this whole third hour. They make more money. That's if people can be bothered to see what the third segment's like. The third hour is going to be. If the third hour has no interest, people are going to switch off. 2 hours at least you actually see how
but
good
they have already been paid for the TV time. Like no one could watch it, but they've already been paid at that point. They don't really care.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Raw for so long had that thing about it. Like they didn't really care who was watching, and now I don't want to say it's swung around to the point where no one cares about SmackDown. Certainly less to care about, because I think people are, and you could get ready to switch the topic in the corner. I think people are getting sick of this Bloodline thing again. It seems to go week on week. Are you into the Bloodline or are you not in the Bloodline? What do you want, fans? Let us know. In 1 week they'll go, we want Roman Reigns and the Usos and Solo and Paul and we want to acknowledge them and everything. And then the next week it'll be like, we want this bleeding title reign to end. Come on. And SmackDown doesn't seem to know what it wants to do. I mean, we know what they want to do. They want Roman Reigns to carry the belt through to WrestleMania 40 and probably lose to Cody. But
It's not going to happen. Just
this
saying
is
now.
drying up again.
Yeah.
You could tell because Roman Reigns was outstanding again.
Back-to-back shows.
Yeah, he's always outstanding. But again, I don't think people are into the idea of seeing Roman Reigns with another title.
Unfortunately, it looks like it's actually going to happen. It looks like Roman Solo is actually going to win the tag titles at Night of Champions.
I think it's the way for the Usos to get the belts back off of Roman and Solo.
Yeah.
Which means the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn thing could be boiled down to a moment. A single moment. A lovely moment, but a single moment.
Absolutely. What's up,
And
Billy?
that stings, you know, like the way that certain people have gotten over recently. And
I'm
if you
saying
hear
this
the
now.
way Sami Zayn fired up at Roman on the promo this week, talking about how, you know, you're a spoiled kid and you don't get what you want just because you ask for it or just because you say you get it, you know.
Agreed.
They're like, you want these titles at Night of Champions, you don't get them. It was really defiant. And you can hear a huge pop for Sami Zayn again.
Yep.
And they're wasting him. And
Oh, they will.
I'm sorry to say this, Kevin Owens, but you are dragging Sami Zayn down because the fans have not cared since
don't want
you
him
two
involved.
just became a team. They want Sami Zayn to do this. They wanted Sami Zayn to do this. And if you're like, okay, Sami Zayn isn't going to do that, well, there's a mid-card title there.
Yeah, there is.
It makes absolutely no sense to go, we'll put Sami and Kevin in a can they coexist tag team. Because, I mean, we've seen it. Okay, not as champions, but we have seen it.
Yep.
And B, we know where it's going to lead eventually because they're already teasing it. So
it's going to be a quick split as well. It's going to be just quick one and done powerbomb off the fucking ring apron, no doubt.
But at this point, are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn too deep in the bloodline?
I think so.
That
And this
it
is my
all
point.
feels like one big story.
Yep. And this is my point about is it time to end it? Because it's benefiting no one anymore. This storyline, I don't care if you're a Bloodline fan, I don't care if you're not a Bloodline fan, that's fine, you can be wherever you want. But when you actually take upon reflection on it, this storyline was good for 6 months. It died. Sami Zayn got involved. It reinvigorated itself. It was good for 8 months, 9 months, and then it died.
Don't let WWE tell you that this has been a masterful 3 years of storytelling.
It's pish. Sorry, but
it's been on off, right? And I'm fine with that. I'm honestly okay with it, okay? Because I've got a book probably coming out next year.
I've got an analogy for this. I've got an analogy for this storyline.
A story, the only goal of the next chapter is to get where you want to go.
Yes.
The problem comes in when there's too much of that.
And you cannot
divert
the
too
track.
much bloodline get where you want to go.
Bingo.
It's not been enough. This is happening now. Let's look at key events of the bloodline. You would go to 3 major matches that have happened, maybe 4, since Clash.
I'm not shocked he's going to Saudi anymore because they've actually appeased.
You know something, Billy? I didn't even realise that. Of course. That's going to be interesting. Oh, do you think that means he takes the pin?
Yeah.
Because like the fans will be, oh no, Sami.
I'm not shocked that Sami's going now because there has been political discussions between both nations and they've said they are like the tensions are actually coming down. They're on speaking terms, so there isn't going to be any issues. It's not going to last long. one of them's eventually going to drop like a bomb on the other. I'm sorry, but
No,
it's
it'll be.
just true.
Come on, we don't say these things. We
Yeah,
want
I'm not.
everyone to get along. They'll be fine,
You
and
want to do
Sami
it, but it's
Zayn will be
international.
fine. And you know
Sami will be
something? We
fine.
get the pin.
Sammy will be fine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying
He
Sammy's
will
got any
pin
physical
Roman
harm.
Reigns clean.
Well, we hope that.
Welcome
I've got
to
no.
Saudi, you know.
Yeah, I've got no problem with Sammy going to Saudi because they've actually came out and had discussions saying there is going to be, like the political sense, government to government have come out saying that there is discussions that there's going to be no animosity. We know his political beliefs. We know where he stands. Obviously, he can come to Saudi Arabia. He's in no immediate danger.
Okay.
That also goes to citizens from both countries
Do
as
you
well.
think?
There's going to
Do
be
you
no
think they're going to have to like
violence.
mirror the Dominic Mysterio entrance from WrestleMania?
No, because that would set them off.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
That would set them off. So we can't have that.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
I don't think there'll be a problem though. In terms of the actual match itself, we will come out to the pay-per-view stuff later on, but I'll be very surprised if I do expect it to be four belts Roman, which is how it's supposed to be. I think
3 belts Roman, or do you think he's gonna lay out Solo and take his as well?
There's no way he's going to lay out Solo, but it'll be Solo lay him out. But
do you think Solo just hands him the other belt?
No, Solo just drops him with a Samoan spike at some point.
No, but you're saying 4 belts.
Yeah, because it's 2
So
tag
you're saying
titles.
we're going to get a visual where Solo hands him the other title?
No, because think about it. Both men are still carrying, like the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are carrying a Raw and Smackdown title each.
They haven't fixed that yet.
They haven't changed that yet, so they're both carrying. They're
Can
still
we fix it? Yeah. Can we have one set of tag belts that just float between the 2 shows? That way we can maybe have a tag division.
Or you just have 2 separate tag team champions on both shows because there's plenty of tag teams to formulate. Like
I don't know if there's plenty of tag teams. There's plenty of teams they could throw together. There's not plenty of actual tag teams.
Well, there is. They just don't want to go for it.
You've got like 7.
They just need one more then. That's not a problem.
Title pictures with 4 teams means that they do one fatal 4-way and you feel like you've seen everyone lock horns because guess what?
If you go fatal 4-way straight away, it's because you lack ambition. That's why Hunter Hearst Helmsley is going to fail.
Fatal 4-ways. He was literally doing them at WrestleMania because.
That's an interesting comment.
Well then,
we're not there yet, but that's an interesting comment.
Oh right, star it. Oh.
I think AEW Collision location will be at Chicago, Illinois. I would say Wrigley Field Stadium instead of the United Center. We're coming to that.
Come on to Collision chat. That is the main event of your Sunday night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this Bloodline thing
needs to die.
I feel like this Bloodline thing it's really
shit.
As I say, it's on-off storytelling, and it's fine. Because if you're on enough, people will forgive the off.
Yep.
But I feel like they already had that because it was dire before Clash.
Yes.
Solo got involved. There was a little bit of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Sami Zayn and it was the War Games that took this into overdrive.
Yes.
And it ran all the way to Royal Rumble. And all the way to Elimination Chamber, and all the way through to Mania. That was the goodwill you got from the fans when it came to, okay, we've dealt with a rubbish story. Post beating Brock, there wasn't much other than beat Brock again, and people were sick of it. And people were sick of the Usos, and they were just ready for this all to end.
You're right.
The problem
I am.
Since WrestleMania, it's been off again, and fans, we all have memory, but impulsively, we all have short-term memory.
Correct.
That's why people ask me about Brock Lesnar, and I say he's horrible and awful, and he's never done anything good. The same thing happens here. The Bloodline, they're boring and awful, and what have they done for me recently?
Nothing.
Exactly. You go back to WrestleMania, And the fans are like, well, we want better than that, Give us something to sink our teeth into. If it's still Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that Roman has a problem with, Roman should be defending the titles against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It shouldn't be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It should be winner take all. Billy, we're not getting into this tonight.
She actually did praise Brock Lesnar 10 minutes ago, but that's because Eilidh was speaking the truth.
I always do.
Interesting question, guys. I don't know if it's true or not, but new reports are saying that Bray Wyatt has been privately released from WWE. It's like all over Twitter right now, but it's mixed reports on it. Haven't seen Sean Sapp confirmed. Okay, Bray Wyatt is not on any advertise. I can confirm what I've seen so far, and this came from SRS.
Ooh,
Bray Wyatt.
A little bit of SRS.
I actually really do like Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah,
a lot of shit
I like his reporting. Really good, really reliable. Good guy. And he's funny.
And check out Fightful as well. They do present a lot of information. He hasn't confirmed anything because the only thing that's been confirmed with Bray Wyatt is he's not advertised for any shows because WWE do not know what to do with him. They do not know where his long-term future is. And I'm going to say this now. He belongs at Disney writing Marvel films because he's not good for wrestling. He's finished, in my opinion. His creative mindset is only good for that. He's not an advertising product because they don't know where he's going. So you don't need to worry. But yeah. He blocked you, Billy, probably because you're just called Billy. I'm just kidding, mate. Okay. I don't know why. You must have done something to Sean for him to block you, but that is funny.
One thing to potentially save Bray Wyatt in WWE.
Nothing can, because that whole 6 things actually been dropped as well.
Judgment Bray.
Okay. Are you saying what I now think you're saying? Because if you are, that's intriguing when we already know that
Wyatt first feuding with Judgment Day, not liking that. So once again, I feel like every week we're just going to have a fantasy booking of the
my fantasy booking last week is yet to be topped.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you could start by like, look, who say you get to decide who's good and who's evil in this world? Because the whole thing about Bray Wyatt's been that he is neither and both at the same time.
I think he's done personally. I think he's finished.
Then, obviously, when you get like heel Bray Wyatt, sort of heading up Judgment Day. Again, we were talking about what happens when people leave. If Dominic Mysterio, it was to come to pass that he ended up leading the LWO.
Which was brilliant booking by us last week.
Yeah, Judgment Bray. There you go. I think that's the only thing that could save him. It's the only thing that's got that sort of not like supernatural. We're not looking for that, but that sort of eerie, that creepy vibe. But again, why did Bray Wyatt just come out on TV for so long and talk about how he's neither good nor bad and how he doesn't know what he's wanting? It's like, yeah, if you come out on TV every week and tell us you don't know what you want, and then this stupid masked idiot comes out laughing at you, I don't know what I'm supposed to take as a fan. And we gave him all the time in the world. So unless they're going to put him immediately into some really hot angle, don't bother bringing him back, because I can't hack another 2-3 months of going, here's Bray Wyatt. What's he going to say this week? I don't want him to talk. I want him to just fight.
I agree with that. I actually think he would fit in that sort of because that's where his mind's perfectly suited for.
I think he would. I think he'd definitely work as like a villain sort of type, that sort of creepy, cultish figure, that sort of thing. It's literally a role that's made for him.
I tell you what can happen
if he'd actually be. Oh, go for it.
I was going to say, if he returns, they need to make sure he doesn't do any cinematic matches, because nobody actually wants to work them with him. When you look at it, nobody generally wants to do a cinematic match, because this isn't his era for cinematic matches is gone. Like,
in fairness, worked for LA Knight. He's now moreover, mainly because people didn't want to see him do it.
True.
But maybe that's what Bray Wyatt can do. He can beat people that WWE want the fans to get behind, and they can use like reverse psychology.
It does
So
work,
when
to be
Bray
fair.
beats them, the fans like Bray beats them in a stupid, Coca-Cola, I don't know, steel cage match. Just beat him. And then the person that loses is suddenly like the most over person on the roster because they lost to Bray Wyatt.
I'm really liking Motor Talk Wrestling's comments tonight. Besides Billy's, I'm really
Yeah.
liking Motor Talk. So engaging. Thank you for joining the podcast. It's good to have you around. Great
Yeah,
comment.
keep those comments coming in.
Yeah,
We
I'll tell you what.
we don't need cinematic matches anymore. I mean, this is something that AEW learned as well, or at least we hope that they've learned it.
That's an interesting one. I don't think you can get this back.
We
think it's
want
past
it back, but it's not happening. And to be honest, I think he's up his own rear end.
Oh yeah, so do I.
There's quite a bit of Bray Wyatt that comes across now as pretentious. And like, oh, you don't understand my vision, man. Like, go away. Just go away.
No,
Did
I
Reece
didn't
just
say
accept- Rude.
Yeah, I always praise your comments. So I'm saying, except for yours tonight, it's good to have something else.
Wow.
So
I
it's
think
not
he meant aside from yours. Billy.
exactly. So
In
it's no
addition
harsh.
to yours. Not except.
Exactly.
That's
He knows what I mean, though. He knows what
Billy,
I mean.
we love having you here, man.
He cries
Regardless
about
of how wrong you are. Because Reece
Billy
is wrong,
cries about
and
it,
he's
man.
still on the show. So,
I'm never wrong.
Anyway, speaking of never wrong, never right, never knowing what they're doing, never knowing which way's up, which way's down. AEW, huh?
Better than recent. I'd say better in the past couple of months than WWE. Respectfully.
What?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Consistently.
Reece, a man got his fingers out and pretended to have a gun.
Everyone knows that. Here, literally, we see folk doing those sort of symbols all the time.
It's fine to do the symbol. It's not fine to run away.
Yeah, that part.
Like it's a real gun. Karrion Kross should have targeted Bray Wyatt.
But
It
why?
could have happened. It could have happened.
No.
Again, you go to that sort of thing. God, Progress did it. I don't remember the name of the other guy. Yeah, watch this. This is a Progress reference from me. Charlie Dempsey was the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going up against, I think it had been his best mate. I don't remember his name, and obviously I would research it, but the laptop's all the way over there, and I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But basically, the whole point was, so the vignette opened, it was like, my name's Charlie Dempsey, and this is how I die. The idea was he was going into a match with this monster that he couldn't beat, but he was going to try anyway. I feel like something like that between Bray Wyatt and Karrion Kross would have worked. Because Bray Wyatt came back and he was Bray Wyatt. He wasn't the Fiend. And if you kept all the sort of supernatural rubbish off him, he would essentially be someone who was in awe of Karrion Kross's raw, apocalyptic strength.
Yeah.
And wanting to experience it firsthand. You get that weird sort of feud where Bray Wyatt he becomes a bit of a martyr. He's enjoying the sort of suffering there. And you can build a good story off of that.
Kross,
I mean, not if you're Liv Morgan.
We already know where he's going, though. We know where he's going, though, Kross. Like, he's going to end up feuding AJ Styles after Waller feuds with him.
Yeah, he didn't call out AJ Styles as such. It was one of those... calling him out would be like you, me next week, but it was one of those ones where it's like, oh, I'm gonna get you one day.
Speaking of main roster, actually, before we move on to the premium live events, actually, there's continue with AEW, obviously, with their premium live event as well. There's actually one thing on WWE's main roster that's pissed me off.
Oh, go on, then.
Theory versus Sheamus should be on Night of Champions, not next week's SmackDown.
Yeah,
should be.
Yeah,
they've just wasted the whole idea of every title should be defended on that night. Well, they've already ruined that by putting Roman Reigns in a tag team title match where his world title isn't even on the line. Theory versus Sheamus should be on the card.
Every champion, that's how they're getting that.
They're just fickle-minded
Hey, it's a family show.
fools. That's what they are.
This
So,
has never been a family
So that's the
show.
question for you, Ellie. Ellie, fuck, it's because I'm reading it wrong. Ellie, what is your opinion on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn still carrying the tag team titles?
Yeah, I mentioned this. I think it's really confusing. Just what they need to do is have a unification match,
Sounds too familiar.
and whoever wins, on you go.
Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Baszler and Rousey would actually be interesting.
I think it would, so long as you had Alba Fire and Isla Dawn win.
And
You
Shayna Baszler
don't
turns
have a
on her.
team come. Yeah, you don't have a team come in with this sort of gimmick, and they lose third week of their push, because then you get an ascension.
Thanks for that
And
painful
we
reminder.
don't want this to be the ascension.
We
This
don't.
witch thing is going to work. If they stay on it, this witch thing is going to work. The problem is, I think Shawn Michaels is a better booker of the women's tag teams.
I think Shawn Michaels is just a better booker than Triple H in
Shawn
general.
Michaels might just be a better booker than Triple H. Maybe. I mean, NXT was certainly very exciting up until Triple H went, okay, we're going to have him, her, them. Oh,
Yeah.
dear. I mean, they've taken JD McDonough, and he's like an undercarder rumored to join the Judgment Day.
He's crap. I'm sorry,
Oh,
but he
come
is.
on.
JD McDonough is crap. He belongs on the unemployment list.
Are you kidding me?
No, he's got no charisma. He's not good in the ring. He's not good in the ring. His promos are terrible.
He's a Finn Balor regen. He's brilliant.
No, he's no. He trained under him, but he's definitely not a regen.
My word.
He's crap.
This is getting rough, man.
He sucks. I'm sorry, but
it's getting rough. First you
JD
target Bianca, and now you're on JD McDonough's back.
That's because JD McDonough sucks. And yes, I did, because even though Bully Ray is an absolute clown, he is correct. Impact Wrestling is the best female division. And when people accept that, they'll realise this.
Impact would have to be worth watching for me to accept it now.
Best women's division by a mile.
Oh, here we go. Do you see letting Drew McIntyre, Emily's buddies, Gallus join him?
I would have that.
It would work, but I think the best way to do that is probably to put them up against Imperium.
He is legit, but I just think he's boring.
And then the problem that you get when you put them up against Imperium is who's face and who's heel. Because I feel like Imperium would fall into the face more naturally than Drew McIntyre with Gallus. Maybe no, you can't put them up against Theory, and you can't put them up against the Bloodline, and you can't put them up against Judgment Day or the LWO. Really, I mean the LWO, I suppose, but they're kind of busy. So
you could.
She
always has points.
So you get to a stage sometimes where you've got too many factions. And speaking of too many factions, I think that's basically the main signpost to get over to this. So Reece, I have kind of been following, but it's the same way that you vaguely follow a route that you think you remember when you're going home, and then you end up in some other street. You end up having to turn around, go back. Maybe I'm just describing how easily I get lost. We're talking about Double or Nothing.
Yes, we are.
Based on the choices that we're presented with, I'll have nothing. But this card's strange. I mean, there's a lot.
Some of it is, yeah.
I do want to say, I think I called Adam Cole's first opponent.
Yes, you did. But I also called who's going to be facing MJF.
At Wembley,
and it is Adam Cole.
Very early on the Four Pillars thing. So whatever source you found that on deserves a shout.
It wasn't a source.
No,
it wasn't a source.
Just your own
prediction.
Own lead.
Yeah. My own little prediction, yes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho is going to be okay, I suppose. The Fatal 4-Way is going to be a thing that happens before MJF wins.
Yep.
Is there anything else on this card you can actually be bothered with?
Anarchy in the Arena, I think it's going to be very interesting. Bullet Club versus the Elite. I think that will be very interesting to see how they
The more
do
I
this.
hear John Moxley talk, the more I want him to get hit by a train.
I think they're trying to make it more like.
I think he'd enjoy it as well. I think he would enjoy
probably
getting hit by a train. But did you right? Can we stop this? Why, when two people are feuding, are they then doing interviews where they talk about how much they respect one another?
I don't know, because even WWE are doing this and it really is annoying.
It's getting really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
When you're in a match, like, so I don't have as much of a problem with what Edge did, because Edge was signposting one match, one triple threat, one time to get one title shot.
Yeah. Yes.
He put AJ and Ray over and he addressed them and he said, I've got all the respect in the world for you, but I'm going to win. Shocker, he didn't.
Yeah.
I thought he would, but nope, they went elsewhere.
Not yet.
No, but I mean Don Callis is now, so
Don Callis is heel, and it'll be
matter of time. But yeah, can we start this whole you're in a blood feud, hurry up and talk about how much you love each other?
Yeah, I know.
Kenny Omega calling John Moxley the MVP. John Moxley saying Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world. Like, stop. You just drove a screwdriver through each other's heads. Like,
I know.
how can you do that and then go, well, now we're off screen? Like, no,
I think
just stop.
There's too much respect that we don't necessarily need. If you're in a feud like that, go all out. Like, you're not going to hear this from like Orange Cassidy when he talks about, say, a powerhouse Hobbs. He isn't going to tell him, well, by the way, I respect you because you're a big meaty powerhouse.
You're not going to hear anything of any worth, of any note, of any purpose from Orange Cassidy.
You will now, because he's actually very good.
No, stop.
No, I will not stop. Just because you've got an Orange Cassidy agenda doesn't mean I have to agree with it, because I don't.
An Orange Cassidy agenda. He puts his hands in his pocket.
And yet, this guy has done more credible title defenses than Roman Reigns has. End of story. I'm just going to keep making you feel pain.
Yeah, what is this? Sunday Night Suffering?
Pretty much. Apparently,
Jesus.
Kota Ibushi might debut at Double or Nothing. I can see if Kota Ibushi can help the... Yeah, he could. And I think you're going to get so much more than this very, very soon. And my pal Davian's now coming at you as well.
What are we doing, people? No.
Here, and once you don't have to like Orange Cassidy, but you have to accept the fact the guy's actually good.
That Tony Khan loves him, so pushes him to the moon.
Yeah. The only thing
they're going to do a title unification match, and I'm not completely sure that MJF wins.
They're not going to do that because on Dynamite...
They're going to build it. It's going to be all the way in...
They won't.
Full gear. Orange Cassidy, I think, has the longest winning run.
It is correct, yes.
Is it 25-0 now? I mean, of course it is, because he gets to go on every TV show, put his hands in his bleeding pockets, and beat somebody.
Yeah,
anyone who loses to Orange Cassidy, I lose about 90% of the respect I have for them. Because it's like, sorry, if we take this out of the context that this guy's supposed to be a fighter, he loses to someone with his hands in his pockets. If you lose someone who isn't taking you seriously, why would I continue to take you seriously?
It's changing slightly, and Billy, I'm just going to say this now, mate. Respect your opinion, but Triple H is a worse booker than Tony Khan.
Oh, no!
Here, the differences between everybody else in this show and everyone in the live chat is I'm split down the middle. I'm a fan of both shows. I'm not giving Triple H any respect anymore for his booking because it's been shite for months. Sorry, but it has to be called out. Tell me something that. Tell me. Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot. Actually, tell me something on the spot.
Okay. Oh my, that might be worse than the Moxley.
Well, let me put it this way: he's actually booked women better than Triple H ever could, and he books tag
No,
teams
he
better
hasn't.
than Triple H ever could.
No,
Yes,
he
he has.
hasn't. No,
Yes,
he
he has.
absolutely has
Yes,
not.
he has. Yes, he has.
How?
Yes, he
How's
has.
Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker versus the second coming of the NWO been any good? See?
That's. It's a good job I don't take you seriously.
My word, this has been something.
Whoa. No, it's not. The worst women's division is WWE.
It's the worst women's division. No, AEW is the worst women's division because they took half of it from WWE that WWE didn't want, and the
And
other
actually
half of
gave them
it's
opportunity.
untrained clowns.
Have you seen Raw and Smackdown recently for women's divisions? Only 4
Yeah,
of them are actually
Bianca
worth watching.
Belair, as I said earlier, is one of the best wrestlers in the world. They've got Becky
That's it.
Lynch. They've
Oh.
got Asuka. They've got Rhea Ripley. That 4 alone beats everything on AEW. I mean, for me, Bianca Belair beats everything on AEW because she's currently one of the best wrestlers in the world. But
Bianca
you know,
would win a
that
one-on-one.
4 alone, and then Gonzalez, okay, they have to sort of get her act together, but she's better than what they've got.
All I'm going to say is Bianca Belair wouldn't win a one-on-one match with Deonna Purrazzo. That's all I'm
Oh,
going to say.
come on, dude.
She wouldn't.
This
wouldn't.
hurts now.
I'm telling you. Doesn't matter if you're in. This is a clear point. It doesn't matter if you're in AEW. Doesn't matter if you're on NXT. Doesn't matter if you're in WWE's main roster. None of them compare to Impact's women. None
Right.
of them.
Okay, Reece, you know something? I didn't want it to come to this at all. But it
It's
looks
the
like you and me, we've got a disagreement. Looks like you and me, we're heading down the same road in opposite directions. It looks like maybe one of these
I know
two
she's in
cars,
Impact, and that's my point.
maybe one of these two cars is being driven by Jeff Hardy because we're about to have a collision.
Bring it.
Here we go. AEW Collision, people. And yes, we are once again talking about CM Punk in a way. So, Reece, if you would like to maybe try and get a few shreds of credibility back, explain to the fine audience what's been going on with this little chestnut.
Well, this is the thing, right? We know it all stems from the divide situation between the EVPs, Axe Steel, who's now back in AEW, by the way, and CM Punk. This is the problem I've got with a whole new show. So we know that Elevation and Dark is going to cease to exist, which is good because they're not entirely worth watching anyway. The talent they put on there don't get enough opportunity to even present themselves. That's going to change. That's now going to be on Rampage. So that at least is good because Rampage has got more time where they can actually be invested in. It's in a good time slot as well.
Just to jump in, is Paul White moving to Rampage?
I think so, yes.
Right, okay. I was like, good. I don't want him to lose his job. As little of his job as I watch,
He's
guy's
actually
got
a
a
decent
job.
commentator. He's actually
Yeah, it's like, guy's got a job. I don't want him to lose it.
Yeah, so I would say that. But also you've got... They are looking to do some... It's not entirely similar to WWE, but it's going to follow that. They are going to do a full-on hard brand split, but you're going to have shows where at times CM Punk might feature on Dynamite. So the week where Punk features on Dynamite, whoever is not inclined to be around, like the Elite, etc., they'll be on Collision for that week, which I actually think is smart because they shouldn't be on the same show every single week. You should be able to work around that. But my concern is it's not that the hard split is a bad thing. It's you're taking colleagues away from each other because of a personal spat. and that shouldn't be the case. Rampage isn't the main show, that's correct. Rampage is going to be the equivalent of Heat and Velocity that WWE used to have. It's going to be like that. Collision's going to be the second show.
Yeah.
So that's
And
not going to change.
this thing you talked about with the personal beef, though.
Yeah.
You're a better booker than Triple H, only has himself to blame.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't handle it well. He didn't handle the talent properly. Yeah, we caught that. We didn't know they were changing night, but I think on last week's show we discussed that Fox were.
I don't think they'll go to Saturdays.
Considering dropping SmackDown because, well, they're just not too happy. It didn't feature in their plans. Might just be like the Sky thing where they're like, "Oh, we have this too," but it might also
NBC
be that they're genuinely just getting rid of it.
NBC are trying to get SmackDown. That's correct.
Yeah, NBC are reportedly interested. The brand split means that I think Collision is going to be watchable, provided
Collision
they don't do the one thing that I know they're going to.
Go on.
What channel is Collision on?
Well, it's going to be on. I'm assuming it'll be on TNT. So it'll still
Collision's TNT, AEW's TBS.
And I watch them both anyway, so I watch TBS and TNT. But you're right.
You're telling me that they're not going to have the TNT champion on every single week of Collision? He's already on every single week of Rampage. So the first 15 minutes of every Collision is going to be that waste of skin. It's just awful.
I'm not opposed to that, though, by the way. I'm not opposed to that actually happening where you actually have a TNT champion on every single TNT
Of course
show.
You're not. You think he's a better champion than Roman Reigns, you psychopath.
I don't think Wardlow's a better champion than Reigns. Wardlow's a TNT champion.
Yeah, sorry, I've confused that with the all
international champion.
The stupid thing.
The TBS title is what Jade Cargill holds.
Yeah, no, the TBS title's Jade Cargill. You know what I mean? The thing that Gene Man has. No, you're right. That's because I thought they were going to put the TNT on him as well.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's good. See, shows how in the loop I am. If Wardlow on every show is okay, which one? Right, see if they keep Cassidy on Dynamite, then that's fine. I'll watch Collision. Collision's roster seems to be more serious and it seems to be more professional. You got Punk,
that we know of.
FTR, Malachi Black, and House of Black. And it seems to be everyone who can work and who learn to work properly.
Yeah.
And then Dynamite is going to have the Elite and their pals.
I'll come to this comment very shortly because I do watch New Japan, so I'll come to that very shortly.
Okay.
Get my thoughts on it. In terms of Collision, though, I don't think it's more as professional. But I do see your point. I think it's going to be more the match based than the storyline stuff, which is obviously what the elite thrive
which is good
at.
Because the stories on Dynamite have been pants.
I think the one storyline that generally actually is worth of interest, excluding the blood stuff because it's not used in the right moments. The Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club is actually compelling to watch when it's being done in the right echelon of it. I think they're starting to try figure out what they're going to do with the whole Outcast versus the main roster originals for women. They're trying to figure that out to a degree. No problem with that. The one I'm not happy with is the Four Pillars because, frankly, Sammy Guevara is a cunt.
Whoa! I was not prepared for you to just drop a C-bomb.
Darby Allin is the only one worth watching that should be in there, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry is good, but he's not main event material. It should be just...
His attitude is also stinking.
It's crap. For me, for me, this should have just been a singles match. It should just be Darby Allin versus MJF, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's the only
absolutely.
one worth watching. It's the only two worth watching. I called it 2 months ago, and even before I said Adam Cole versus MJF at Wembley. This is all I want to see. I just want to see MJF.
Now that
versus
isn't
Darby Allin.
confirmed.
It's looking like it's going to happen though, but I don't know if it will. But I'm hoping it happens because that's what I want in the main event. But then again, also, you might see some other fun too.
So before you come to the Mercedes Moan question.
Yes.
Is Punk on Collision?
Punk will be on Collision. Yes. He's the main, like the main face of it. Yes.
Why do you think they pull him? Why Reece mad hitting on the pillars? I don't know. Sammy's good in the ring. I think Jungle Boy's the worst of the lot.
I think
Sammy's good in the ring. Average. I think if you got a hold of his attitude, he would definitely have something. But again, Tony Khan, your supposed booking messiah, hasn't handled his talent well at all. And that's part of booking. Booking is managing a talent roster. Ultimately, when these guys fight and Tony Khan doesn't fine, suspend, or fire one of them, of course you're going to get these attitudes out of them. I think Jungle Boy's very limited, but I've always thought that it was a mistake to break his tag team up. He couldn't book a flight. I think it was a mistake to break Jungle Boy away and think that he's a singles star.
Jungle Boy's useless. He belongs as a jobber. I'm sorry, but he should be a jobber. And Sammy Guevara.
Okay, jobber's a bit far, but he's definitely only a mid-carder. Sammy Guevara, there could be something there. Again, I only think it's upper mid-card, but there's something there. Darby Allin, main event, and MJF, not
Guevara's not
particularly
main event
draw as
material.
a champion.
No. I think they need to move him away. They need, like, MJF is on. Also, here's another thing. So MJF is failing as world champion.
Yeah, that's what I just said. He's not actually drawing because people were more into what's going to happen when he becomes champion than when he is champion. And what's weird is you usually see that with babyface.
Yeah, but in this case, their top heel just
in this case, the top heel can't draw, or not can't draw. He can't draw TV ratings. Could that also be because of the other stuff that they're booking around him potentially? Anyway, so we're saying yes to Punk.
Yeah, I think Punk.
Why do you think they pulled him?
I think they're still trying to figure out what is best case scenario. Because obviously, considering what happened with Punk before, I don't blame it all. Everyone knows it's not all Punk's fault what happened in that media scrum.
No, absolutely not.
But it stemmed from his own words. He really should have. He should have reined himself in. Punk got far too emotional, and he led with his gut, not with his head. And we know what happened. If he had been smarter about this and handled it differently, it would never have happened. And I think it would have been more constructive. But I just don't know what more. I think they're just waiting to see what happens when he returns before they make him like, okay, you're the main guy of this show. I think Tony Khan still believes in Punk from my drawing perspective because Punk is still a great draw.
Yeah.
But it's the same circumstance when we mention Chris Jericho. Like, Chris Jericho is the same echelon. He has moments of madness for work he's doing, but the guy's still a draw. He still delivers you good matches. But there's times where we don't really think, are you really what we want to build around? I think you're more trusted to build around Punk. If there's no attitude, there's no toxicity in who he's working with, actually want to work with him. When I look at that whole roster, I don't fully know who does and who doesn't want to work with him. I think
there's got to be about 80% of that roster who genuinely don't want anything to do with him, and that's the real problem. Because if enough of this has gone around the AEW locker room, I think he will be on the show. He'll be on Collision,
Yeah.
But I think most of that locker room's now at the point where they don't only not want to work with Punk, but there were people that originally were okay with working with Punk, but this has
Yeah.
dragged on for so long. And if the narrative is owned in the media for so long about CM Punk caused this problem, CM Punk caused that problem, you had Bobby Fish come out, you had Brandon Cutler leading the Elite's charge on this like thing, and of course you got Dave Meltzer sticking up for the Elite as well while he's at it. If enough of the media dominates it with anti-Punk rhetoric, most of that locker room doesn't want to work with him now. So
which is not fair on him. It isn't
I don't
fair
know
on him
what
as well.
they do other than have him beat MJF.
You know what I think they actually should do, and it's actually quite funny, but it's old school. They need to that roster needs to have a full-on sit down with, or even like have people who, if there's particular talent or backstage staff who aren't comfortable in raising their voices, they air it to people properly in a recorded environment, who will then present it back to Punk. Punk can then actually respond in the right manner and be like, well, here we go, we're just going to air out right here, right now, professionally. And then after that, they just go separate ways, and then they just go back, right, you're on Dynamite for this period of time, you're on Collision. So this is what I think they have to air it out in a professional sense.
They still know where each other work, though.
He was invited. Same as he was invited to Impact as well.
So I missed last few weeks. What was Punk at Raw all about? Apparently, it was just seeing some friends. I think he was also trying to drum up clout for his return.
Yeah.
He knew that it was going to be spoken about. He knew that the Elite wouldn't like it. I think that some of what Punk chooses to do, Billy, you're absolutely right,
doesn't help him.
He just causes chaos. Like, why is he going to Raw?
Yeah.
Especially when Vince McMahon's there.
Especially because Vince hates him.
But wished him dead in a promo.
I know. And that's the whole light of it.
Anyway, Reece, you've got to make like a German estate car and tell us about Mercedes Moan.
Yeah.
That was rubbish. Anyway, what was the question about her?
Pretty much. No, I've actually been really enjoying the best of the junior light heavyweights. Once again, New Japan is doing me right, and my pick to win it, Speedball Mike Bailey, the best from Canada, is absolutely flooring it. And Will Ospreay retweeted a tweet of mine last night. So cheers, boss.
You love your Twitter clout. Tell you what, tweet that Tony Khan's a better booker than Triple H. He probably is better than Vince McMahon now. Tweet that he's better than Triple H and see what sort of response she gets. All I'm saying. While you're at it, make sure you tweet that John Moxley take from a while ago. That Hall of Fame. It's in the pantheon of bad takes. I'm with you, Motor Talk. I think that's good. I think Chris Statlander, give her a chance. I think she has something. She just needs to stop getting bleeding injured.
You know what I think will happen? If Jade Cargill wins number 51 at Double or Nothing, then she'll get to 60 wins, and then she loses to Statlander for the title.
If only they gave 51 wins to someone who matters. Oh, Reece is gone. Now, what was this question about Mercedes Moan? Here we go. Might probably win the New Japan Strong Women belt. Yeah.
I think she will. She's the best person to get a title off the mat, and we see how it goes. It'll be interesting as well, because she's apparently going to be pulled from a few other shows as well, but I'm not sure what to expect. We'll see what will happen.
Yeah.
But
and then an interesting point there
choice
as well about Multiverse Pro Wrestling.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Multiverse.
So
second one.
This is the second shared card between Impact in New Japan.
Impact in New Japan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I don't think I actually caught the first one. It was WrestleMania weekend,
really
wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was Impact's hosting. Yeah, it was really good.
So it was. I'll perhaps dig it out. I won't. Anyway,
one match in particular I do recommend watching is is Speedball Mike Bailey versus Tanahashi. It was actually a really good match to watch.
Can we close on that Billy comment? Reece turning into Bruno Fernandes then was a huge upgrade.
Not really, because I don't misplace my passes. I don't misplace my comments either. I love Bruno Fernandes, but sometimes I have to make the comment
right.
on him.
Punk and the Elite buried the hatchet. Imagine the money. Yeah, I think they're still going to end up doing the multi-man tag match all in for Punk versus Omega all out,
which would be quality. I would actually love to see that, and I do think we might get.
It would be a fun match if Wheeler Yuta can find some character.
He is better than he was before.
Didn't. No.
I think he'll be Kenta. I think he'll be Kenta.
I'm not going. I think we'll get better seats, sort of just where I am. So nah, but it's all good. I'll watch it at home at a very reasonable time. I'll get some lovely food on the go, and I will enjoy John Moxley stabbing someone with a literal shank. Considering we're in London, why would you change that? Anyway, as we come to the 71st minute of the show, we are ready to cap it off, people. So that was a lot of fun. There was quite a bit more anger and animosity about it, but it was good. It was good. It got us debating the right things and sometimes the very wrong things. Remember to leave in the comments, do you think Tony Khan is a better booker than Triple H? Do you think Shayna Baszler is a better wrestler than Bianca Belair? I can barely say that one with a straight face. Do you think Shayna Baszler is a better wrestler than Bianca Belair?
Yes.
And you had one more shock. Do you think Orange Cassidy is a better champion than Roman Reigns? That's your 3 takes for the comments, people.
That was my personal humor of the night.
Give him hell. Like, come on. That's some of the work. Anyway, we've had a lot of fun.
Interesting.
That's okay. That's definitely something for down the line, is to do like WWE versus AEW card. Probably around Survivor Series, because it's easy content.
Yeah, a Forbidden Door match.
Yeah, perhaps. But anyway, this has been a lot of
Billy,
fun.
all I'm going
will be remembered for Reece. Tony Khan is.
I'm fine with that because Triple H isn't even better than HBK when it comes to booking.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you saying HBK's better than him, but
HBK's better than both of them.
Anyway, this has been another episode of the Weekly Steelchair. We've really enjoyed it. This Sunday night edition. We may have to do it more often at this sort of time.
Except next week.
But we'll find out. We can't do it this time next week. Do join us on Saturday for a preview
double show.
I don't know. It's going to be about 2:30, isn't it?
Yep, double show next Saturday.
So about 2:30. We'll confirm the time. You'll see it in your sub box anyway. If you're not subscribed, do so. In addition to this excellent wrestling content, you also get some excellent content about a really bad football club, and some really good guys all around on the channel. Really great content coming out. Keen pulling a mad one week in, week out, and keeping us all going strong. So we thank him for that. But yeah. I think you're the only one with the power to send us home, Reece.
Yeah, I do have all that power. So updates. Back next Saturday. 2:30 is correct. We're doing the preview show for Battleground, Night of Champions, and Double or Nothing. We're going to do 20 minutes each on all 3. Same night. I'm going to be doing because Ailey's not available, sadly, so it's just going to be me. I'm going to be doing a watch-along for I'm hoping it's the main event, otherwise it's pointless, Rollins versus Styles. We'll be doing it as a live match watch-along, which is quality. Then as we get into the following week, the 3rd of June, we're going to split it two shows. Well, split into one show, but split into 2 parts. First half is the recap from all 3 shows, and then the second half it's Andrade versus Johnny Gargano, and then it's either going to be the 10th or the 17th. Up to Ailey on this one. It's the quiz.
Well, I wasn't there last time. We'll work out if I can be there this time. My internet just really doesn't like them. But we'll see if we can get it done. Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. We'll be back this coming Saturday.
I know it's the cup. I know it's the cup final.
Yeah,
I know it's the cup final.
we'll be all good. We'll work out those times. Anyway, people, that's been a lot of fun. Reece, let's get us out on 1:15, bud.
Absolutely. I'm still deciding on dates. It might be the 24th. We'll see. Because after that, me and Eilidh I won't be seeing Eilidh for the entire week because I'll be gone after that because I'm be in London. So we need to figure shit out. But anyway, see you folks. Thanks for the show. It's been a good laugh and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Yeah. Bye guys.